we are going to be imposing a 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that. So we're bringing it up from 25%. We're doubling it to 50%.
Well, another day, another tariff, just as we thought that we understood what the latest tariff regime was in the United States. President Trump stood up on a visit to a factory in Pennsylvania and announced that he was increasing the tariffs on steel and aluminium imports, doubling them from the current 25%.
We don't want America's future to be built with shoddy steel from Shanghai. We want it built with the strength and the pride of Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh steel, it's U.S. steel, and it's going to be something even more special when you get all that billions of dollars of new equipment that they're going to be investing right here. Billions and billions of dollars.
Well, President Trump later confirmed the change on his Truth Social platform, adding that the new 50% tariffs would be effective from Wednesday, June the 4th. Let's talk to Daniel Lippman, White House reporter for Politico. Good afternoon to you, Daniel.
Thanks for having me.
So, I mean, it is just quite a struggle to keep up with every single change to the tariff regime. The president seems to be changing it every other day. Talk us through this latest one.
Yeah, so this is a doubling of the steel and aluminum tariffs, and he actually has the legal right to do this, unlike those reciprocal tariffs that the courts have struck down, at least for until it hits the Supreme Court, although there is that pause, of course, on the cancellation of the tariffs, and so it's getting very confusing. But I think he wanted to exert some leverage on foreign countries because a lot of companies rely on steel for their products and aluminum, and so he wanted to keep the pressure on Europe and other trading partners that he has not lost all of his powers on tariffs, even if he has gotten them hemmed in greatly by the courts.
Is it clear how this is going to affect the UK? Because we did reach a deal with President Trump. The only tariffs that were left in place at 25% were those steel and aluminium tariffs. Others were put back to 10%. Is it clear that the UK will be hit by a 50% tariff on steel and aluminium and cars?
Yeah, I think it's unclear because we haven't seen the full ruling yet, or full kind of order from the U.S. Trade Representative and from Trump, and so he has not signed that, and so we're all waiting to see if there is a carve out for the UK and what that looks like, because I'm sure Keir Starmer would not be happy if he doesn't get that exemption, because then it also hurts Trump's ability to make further deals if he is just going to violate the ones he initials, because remember, the UK deal is not a full deal, it's just the outlines of a deal, and they're still hammering it all out. But I think Trump wanted to, it's not a huge surprise that he's doing these extra tariffs, but it's not, there's a lot of companies that could get hurt by this. But the markets, of course, are closed over the weekend, so we'll have to see if they actually do take a dip on Monday, or if it's kind of seen as a pretty separate or closed out matter where it's not huge tariffs on everything. It's just the steel and aluminum.
Just finally, I mean, you mentioned that court case. So what happens was that the courts intervened and said President Trump didn't have the power to introduce most of the tariffs beyond these steel ones. The White House appealed, and then meant that they could go ahead with them for the time being. Given we've now got presumably further stages of that legal process to go, and of course uncertainty about what the next whim of President Trump is going to be, doesn't it undermine the whole strategy of using tariffs to convince big companies to move their production to the United States?
It makes it very hard and impossible for companies to have the confidence that the investments that they will make in the U.S. Will have the type of costs and tariff structure that Trump has put in place. And remember, Trump has rolled back his own tariffs on numerous occasions when the markets tell him to, basically. And the bond markets have, he said the country was getting a little yippy. The markets were not cooperating. And so you see the ramifications of using tariffs, where it used to be a much more targeted tool. It's not meant to be tariffs on everything. And I think that Republicans in Congress were actually happy, some of them, at the courts taking a block to Trump's rules, because they don't want to get blamed if there is a recession and their guy helped cause it.
Daniel Lippman, our White House reporter for Politico. Great to speak to you. Thank you so much.
We are going to be imposing a 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that. So we're bringing it up from 25%. We're doubling it to 50%. But the Nippon investment we're announcing today blows them all away with a record-setting, and this was just heard of. We just came out a little while ago. $14 billion commitment to the future of this company. That is the single largest investment. That's the single largest investment of any kind in any industry. So not only steel, go all the way back. You go into fracking, you go into anything you want to go into, because you're a good fracking state too. We love fracking, by the way. But think of this, the largest investment of any kind in the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And we also will be the largest investment in the history of American steel industry. There's never been a $14 billion investment in the history of the steel industry in the United States of America. You know, I have to tell you about Nippon. They kept asking me over, and I kept rejecting it. No way, no way, no way. And after about 4 times, I said, you know, these people really want to do a great thing. They really want it. And they're putting up, you know, billions of dollars, and they're going to do this plant and other plants, and it's great, and you're going to have control, you're going to maintain control, and nobody would put up money like that. And every time, Dave, I think you'll say, every time they came in, the deal got better and better and better for the workers, because I didn't give a damn about anybody else, if you want to know the truth. And the rest of them, they'll take care of themselves. Most importantly, U.S. Steel will continue to be controlled by the USA. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done the deal. I wouldn't have done it. But the USA, and we're going to be working together, and you're going to look at your board. You have a great board, and we're going to have an amazing alliance. If you don't have steel, you don't have a country. You don't have a country. You can't make a military. What are we going to do? Say, let's go to China to get our steel for the army tanks and for the boats and ships. A strong steel industry is not just a matter of dignity or prosperity and pride. It's above all a matter of national security, and it is. We're taking in billions and billions of dollars in tariffs and other things, and we're keeping our competitive nations, we're keeping them, they're competitors, and we're keeping them totally at bay. And we right now have the hottest nation anywhere in the world. And 6 months ago, we had a nation that was dying. We had a nation that was cold as ice. And now we have the hottest, most talked about nation anywhere in the world. And every U.S. steel worker will soon receive a well-deserved $5,000 bonus. That's very rare. Thank you very much. That's great.